Hello and welcome to another Hungry Heffy Crafts video. It's Leslie Oman here and I have this cute little new Lawn Fawn robot stamp set and I'm going to be making a shaker card today. So to start off with this card, I wanted to add some grey thick lines to some cardstock. I really like stamping on the background of cards, so I've taken a card blank and I've taped it off so I don't get any ink on the back side of the card, and I'm going to be using the Simon Says stamp background stamp, and it's got the wide stripes on it, and also Simon Says stamp fog ink. Now when I have a ink pad that has quite a solid image, I tend to rub the ink pad on it and then tap on top, and that makes sure I get the ink everywhere on that solid image. I've kept this cling stamp on the acetate that it comes with, and I find that the stamp is quite big, so I can use it like this instead of mounting it onto an acrylic block. Now you can see that in the UK the card bases are taller than the stamp, but that's okay, we'll trim that off later on. Now while that's drying, I'm going to take my cute little robot guy and stamp it up with some Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I'm going to be using some colouring pencils to colour this guy in, and with the Memento ink it makes sure it doesn't smudge. This is the Essentials packet or box of colouring pencils from Spectrum Noir, and I've sped this up because the colouring takes a little bit of time. I'm using a light grey here to go around the outside, and then going in with a slightly darker grey and focusing on the right hand side of the robot and leaving the central part of the image fairly lightly coloured, and then I'll go back with that lighter colour to blend that out. I'm going to take one more darker grey colour to just to add a little bit of shading, especially where his mouth is or anywhere there would be a natural shadow. And then I'm going to take my Gamsol, or this is actually the Spectrum Noir blending solution, and a paper stump, and I'm going to blend that out, and that will get rid of any of those pencil marks. And I really love the end result of using these colouring pencils with the blending solution. I think it gives a really nice look. To add a little bit of cuteness, I'm taking a blush pink colour to give him some rosy cheeks. And that's him done. Right, I'm going to move that out of the way now because I'm making a shaker card today and I have quite a lot of cutting to do with my Cuttlebug. I use a small cutting mat to put my Cuttlebug on top because of the suction, and I don't want it to pull up my craft mat. And I've sped up this part of the video too because there's quite a lot of cutting going on. I'm using some Stitch Circles dies from Simon Says Stamp, and this is some teal coloured paper from an Echo Park Stripes and Dots collection. And I'm cutting out a circle frame. You can see I've taped two of the frames together so I can create this circular frame. I'm also going to be cutting out two extra circle frames from Funky Foam, and now I'm going to remove that inner circle die and just use the outside to cut a few extra pieces for the card. First of all, a circle of vellum, and then I'm also going to use this light pink pattern paper for the background and a piece of acetate. So here we have that pink paper, which is going to be the background inside the circle, and my vellum I'm going to layer on top, two of the Funky Foam frames plus the teal frame on top, and I'll save the inside pieces of those Funky Foam for another project. I also have a piece of acetate there, but you can hardly see it on the video. Now to stick these together, I'm using a little bit of glossy accents. So first of all, on the back of my dotty teal paper, I'm using some glossy accents to stick the acetate down, and I'll leave that to secure with some acrylic blocks on top. And now I'm going to add the vellum on top of this really light pink paper. I'm using the glossy accents just around the outside because you won't see that when the frame's in place. Now for the Funky Foam or craft foam, sticking those two together, and that does take a little bit of time to dry, so I left it aside with the acrylic block on it for a little while. While this is securing and the glue is drying, I'm going to cut out my little robot. So here he is. I've left a little bit of a border, a white border on the outside, but I think he looks really cute. Right, now it's time to trim down this card, and I'm just going to use my paper trimmer for that. And even though it's going to end up a bit of an odd size, I don't really care, it'll still fit into an envelope perfectly fine. So I've trimmed off the excess piece, and I'm also going to grab my corner chomper, and I'm using the bigger corner, I think it's 1/2 inch, to chop the corners of all 4 sides of my card. Now I'm going to be moving on to the greeting, and this stamp set has some really cute words and sentiments with it, and I'm going to be embossing on top of that pink piece of paper and the vellum on top, and the greeting I'm using is "Gear up for a beep boop birthday." So I've taken the first stamp and first of all prepared the surface with a powder bag, and that gets rid of any excess liquid or anything, any oils on the card, and make sure that the embossing powder only sticks to where I want it to stick to. And I'm using the Ranger Liquid Platinum Embossing Powder. I just picked this up recently and I think it looks really, really cool. This is the embossed image. It's a mix between a silver and a gold, and it's perfect for my little robot. When I was heating up the vellum, it actually warped a little, so I'm going to be using a shed load of adhesive on this piece of paper to make sure that it sticks to the card as flat as possible, and I'll set that aside with a weight on it to make sure that it flattens out. Now this is a shaker card, and one thing that sprung to mind immediately was I have these little tiny, it's called watch parts or something to that effect. I picked it up at a craft show in Altered Art department, but there's little tiny cogs and screws, and I thought that would be excellent to have in my robot shaker card. But I'm also going to be adding some color with these little seed beads. I'm adding some pink, some white, and just a little sprinkling of blue so I can bring in those like teal colors in the frame. And now I'm adding those little tiny watch parts. Like I say, there's springs, little screws, and really cute little cogs as well. I'm putting them all in the middle, and when I think I've got enough, I'm going to be adding some glossy accents all around the outside, very carefully, making sure that those seed beads don't roll out into the glue. And then I'll put the top of my shaker card in place. Now I left that to the side for about 10 minutes with my little jar on it, and it is stuck really firmly, and you can see it wiggling around. Now it's time to add my little robot, and he's going to go on the bottom left side. Now I was actually going to add the heart that you can see just at the top of the frame, but instead I've decided to use some of these balloons, and I'm going to still use a pink color so I can tie in with those pink seed beads that are inside, but unfortunately my camera gave out after a little while here, so I don't have the video footage of me stamping and cutting them all out. But here you can see the final card. I've added 3 balloons and also the strings of the balloons, and I also added a few pearls to the card as well. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Hit the like button if you like it, and we'll bring you more videos. See you the next time. Bye now.